This 3-Minute Egg is made possible from a generous grant by Ramon, the Minnesota Jewish Arts Council.
I'm always exploring the idea of something in Judaism because I'm so fed by that.
Judith Brin Ingber is one of the bedrock choreographers and dancers in the modern dance scene in the Twin Cities, and her artistry and activism are inextricably entwined. Some years ago, she and composer Alex Lubet explored Jewish and Black relationships in the Twin Cities, and now they and a range of visual, movement, and musical artists in the Twin Cities are exploring and commenting on the Jewish experience in an evening of work called People of the Book. We're watching Judith in a run-through of her solo work. We're going to talk with her about this piece and others that she's involved with on this edition of 3-Minute Egg.
In the last couple of years, I've done a collaboration with Georgette Sosin. She decided to work with the idea of prayers for the dead, and the root is an Aramaic poem or a prayer that has become the Lord's Prayer in Christianity and become the Kaddish in Jewish tradition. And she built 3 paintings that are like steps, that the sections aren't 3 on top of each other, but they're slightly off, and there are 3 of them. And I was very touched. For me, I could see something in the earth. I even started with the idea that we had a grave and it was growing out of the grave. And I worked in her studio with fabrics. I love fabrics, and twining myself into them, and the idea of steps is very evocative in Judaism. You have the idea of Jacob's ladder going up into heaven, and I called my piece Stepping into Heaven. And I've done work with Jim Miller, who's a flautist, and the idea of the breath and how you move from a kind of grief and what your body does as you're trying to express yourself. You start with something and you start playing with it, and you don't know where it's going to take you, and you use the tools that you've been taught about movement form, and you use your imagination to go beyond the structure that you've been taught. With this idea of play, of exploring and curiosity, things happen in the studio that you can't plot. This Jewish Community Center has all kinds of members, and it functions in so many ways for the greater community. But for some reason, this theater seems to be closed off, and people outside don't come in anymore. But Alex and I really hope that the themes will draw people